It's time!
What is going on, everybody? PickinFightsTom back for another week of UFC picks. Pickin' Fights here. If you had watched Keith's video, you know that my schedules just didn't align this week, and we had to separate and create separate but equal videos this week. And not typically used to doing the introductions and everything, so bear with me while I kind of get used to it. Like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate all of the support. Let us know down below in the comments what fight you're looking forward to most on UFC Paris. Also, let us know what fight was the most shocking and surprising for you from UFC 278, I think it was. Yeah, 278. I guarantee a lot of people were most surprised with the Leon Edwards head kick knockout of Kamaru Usman. Certainly I was. Although if you had watched, not Picking Fights, but I was on with Addicted to Combat and Patrick over on their channel. If you haven't checked that out before, make sure you go and do. I was saying that, hey guys, I think Leon Edwards is going to have the power to get this done. I was talking about the striking discrepancies there, and hey, listen, to everybody out there who thought that just because the the hook. No, the hook two combo is what worked to kind of stagger Leon Edwards against Nate Diaz. I think and that's what worked for worked for Kamaru Usman to knock down George Masvidal. I mean, come on, guys. You didn't think that was something that Leon Edwards was teeing up and knowing what was potentially going to come and knowing the power behind that, but either way, let's get into the prelim notables for UFC Paris. It's a pretty good card. If you're out here in the States, not a ton of really known, I guess, commercially popular fighters on the card, except when you get to the top two fights. But that's what we're here for. So first, I want to start with Stephanie Egger versus Eileen Perez. Eileen Perez is a pretty good prospect. Well, solid prospect. She has a lot of. She's 7-1. The stand up is her bread and butter, but when it comes to the ground game, that's where she leaves a lot to be desired. Her competition outside of the UFC is not that great, and like I said, when it comes to going to the ground, that's where really she shows her inexperience. Just 27 years old. She's gonna have a 65-inch reach, 65.7, compared to Stephanie Eggers, who's 68. She's more tried and tested inside of the UFC. Not that big of a discrepancy in terms of overall fights that these women have had. Stephanie Egger coming in at 7-3 and Eileen Perez at 7-1. However, the level of competition for Stephanie Egger is just levels above, and her ability on the ground is much, much better than Eileen Perez. At 34 years old, she's probably ending towards the back half or the back end of her career here. But I do think that, yes, she got submitted by Mayra Benesova pretty much like 2 weeks ago, turning right back around. I think then that's a little bit tied to the fact that she just thinks that she is better than what that performance showed. She has submissions on her record before. She has the ground ability, arm barring Jessica Rose Clark, actually breaking her arm 6 months ago. She's got the win over Shanna the Animal, Shanna Young, lost to Tracy Cortez. But at the end of the day, I think Stephanie Egger is definitely going to have the better ground ability here, to get this one done. And that's why I'm going to call this one of my prelim notables and one of my locks here, actually. Moving up the card, we have another prelim notable. We have Faraz Siam versus Mikhail Figlock. And I'm going to be taking Mikhail Figlock. He's a strong tank of a guy. He has had pretty good competition outside of the UFC, coming in at 8-0. Faraz Siam at 12-4 here, and he's kind of been up and down. Nicknamed the Smile Killer. Siam has had some underwhelming performances recently, and Figlock has shown his ability to be consistently good in all of his fights. All 8 of them, he has came in and he's been winning pretty much from the initial start of the fight, and he is just like a pit bull, just an attack dog, and he goes out there with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm. And he keeps a high pressure. He hits hard. He has a lot of stamina. And then just recently on social media, he's looked especially locked in. Like, this is his one shot, and he is going to capitalize. And he's going to go out there and try to really use this as a way to launch himself into a solid UFC career here. 8-0, coming out of Cage Warriors, and so he's had good competition and he's been tested there. Had a couple decisions, so we know he has good stamina. When it comes to Farasiam, like I said, he could be a little bit lackluster. Sometimes he can, stall a little bit, maybe not know. I'm not gonna say he doesn't know what he's doing, but he can stall a little bit and maybe be overwhelmed with the amount of strikes that he can have, and try to tee things up a little bit too good. So I think Figlock is going to come out there, have high pressure, hit him hard, and keep him on his back foot. And I think that this is one where I think Miguel Figlock actually can get the finish here. If I'm going to be betting on it, I'm probably going to take him money line. Looking at the odds here, -200, so that's a moderate favorite. I actually like that line because I'm pretty confident in him, especially showing up, UK, Ireland, kind of in his neck of the woods there. But he's Polish, so he's going to have that potential legendary Polish power. Farasiam coming out, French fighter out of France, is going to have the height advantage here. But I just like Mad Dog Michael Figlock to get it done. Moving on up the card, and this is going to be my last prelim notable, but we have Dustin Stoltzfus taking on Abzupian Magomedov, nickname Abus. This is his first UFC fight. He's coming out of KSW. A lot of good wins over there, especially when it comes to the ground game. He had he took a loss 3 years ago at the infancy of the PFL. But we haven't seen a lot of chin issues from him beyond that. Dustin Stoltzfus, on the other hand, when it comes to the ground game, that's really where he tends to struggle. Kyle Dawkins, he's got the unanimous decision loss, and Kyle Dawkins didn't turn out to be the prospect that maybe we thought that he was going to be, or the name association that his brother had. He's got the submission loss to Rodolfo Vieira. He's got the rear naked choke submission loss to GM3. Now, it's not like either of those guys, Rodolfo Vieira, obviously being a jiu-jitsu specialist, and GM3, that being the area of his game that's his bread and butter. It's not like Dustin Stoltzfus has a terrible ground game, but Abus is going to be far stronger when it comes to the ground game. And Dustin Stoltzfus, he hasn't looked phenomenal to me. In his contender series, he got in off of a slam and an arm injury from Joseph Pfeiffer, then had 3 continuous losses, and then just had a win over Dwight Grant a little over a month ago. So, I don't think Abus is going to be out grappled here. And I think Dustin's going to have I don't think Dustin's going to have the late round finishing ability that's needed to go out there and get it done over the new prospect for the UFC at 32 years old. Still, got some time to do some things inside of the UFC for Abus, but I think he's going to, have that urgency and know that, like, hey, this is my opportunity, this is my chance. Go out there on a pretty big stage and get it done. He's also going to have a 4-inch reach advantage here, going to be the bigger guy. And I just think there's a lot of things that are leaning toward the Abus Magomedov way, away from Dustin Stoltzfus. So that's where I'm going to go. Looking at the Tapology votes, 86% are on Magomed, 32% by submission, 11% by KO, TKO, 49% by decision. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say he's going to get this one over Dustin Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus has had the, he's shown his susceptibility, should I say, to, the submission game. So I like Abus to get the submission win there. Moving up onto the main card, we have Charles Jourdain taking on Nathaniel Wood here. And in this one, listen, Charles can crack, and he is moving up in weight for this one, I believe. No, he's at featherweight. No, so he's not moving up. Maybe I don't know how I had that in my notes, but he had the loss to Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos now over in the PFL. I think that it was Nathaniel Wood who's had to step up. So Nathaniel Wood, he's got the win over Charles Hosa. He's got a loss over to Casey Kenny. Before that, a win over John Castaneda, and then a loss to John Dodson, and then a win over Jose Alberto Quinones. So that was a submission win. So when it comes to Nathaniel Wood, he seems like he has an up and down UFC career to this point. Charles Jourdain, he is a solid fighter. I don't think he's as good as some people would like him to be, but he is an exciting fighter. He hits hard. He's quick. I think that when it comes to Nathaniel Wood and his striking, sometimes he can leave some openings. So, in transitions or, you know, uh, after he throws a combination or two, he can sometimes have his hands down. And I think that's where Charles Jourdain is going to be able to catch up. I think he's with his speed and his power, and Nathaniel Wood not necessarily being as used to the power up at 45. I think Charles Jourdain is going to get him there. And, Nathaniel Wood can hesitate at times. Great Britain top team, obviously coming out of a good camp there. These guys, the measurables, they stack up pretty similar. Both have the exact same reach. Charles Jourdain at 26 years old, I think he's going to be improving a little bit more than Nathaniel Wood is going to be. With all that being said, I'm looking at the Tapology votes here. Jourdain is 72% of the 1,400 votes have him winning. Of those, 44% are by KO or TKO. So, I'm gonna take Charles Jourdain to finish this one on the main card opener for UFC Paris. So like that with that, oh, I should probably have updated and told you guys that we are on the main card. Charles Jourdain gonna take this one by finish over Nathaniel Wood. I think in the second round, potentially into the third, but second round finish I like for Charles Jourdain. Here, moving up the card, we have a UFC. We have a UFC. What's the word for it? A UFC. See, this is why I kind of need Keith here because I just sometimes totally blank on words. We have the UFC debut. That's where I was looking for two guys, William Gomez and Jarno Aarons. Both of these guys are making their UFC debuts here. Prospects, I think. I don't know if these guys are going to go on and have phenomenal UFC careers, but I think they both have enough talent to be staples in the UFC for a little bit of time here. Looking at William Gomez, he has some ground and pound wins most recently, coming out of a pretty good promotion at UAE Fight Warriors. He's been around the block in his competition. He's fought in Cage Warriors. A lot of his wins are over guys with extensive records: 9-1, 7-3, 6-1, 11-5. I like William Gomez in that regard. And looking at Jarno Evans, he's not a scrub either, but he not a scrub either. Coming in 2 years older from the Netherlands, he's going to be a plus 180 underdog here. Gomez, like I said, from MMA Masters, he's been some good some good promotions. He's gotten some good competition as well. I think for being 25 years old, he is a pretty good prospect. He's got really good leg kicks and body kicks. They're fast. They're not super powerful. Like one shot's going to be able to put you down, but the accumulation of those kicks is what really is his path to victory here. Aarons, he does have good boxing, but he doesn't manage the distance too well. So when he's on the outside, I think that's where Gomez is going to be able to pick him apart, going to the leg, going to the body with those fast kicks. He uses his kicks almost like jabs, so where they're really fast and he can double them and sometimes triple them up. And I think that's going to trip up Jarno Aarons here as a guy who's predominantly a boxer. He's got a little bit of a ground game to him as well. He's got, I think, 5 submissions on his record here, but I think Gomez is solid enough in the grappling game to defend any of that. He doesn't have great ground game, but he does show an ability to control opponents on the ground. So I like that for Gomez in terms of the anti-ground game against Jarno Aarons. And then when it comes to, a boxing guy trying to get in on the inside, that is in the past been a weakness for Gomez. But I think, having the I think he's going to have a little bit of a leg reach advantage. I'm not sure where to actually check that. Or where to find that out. But I think he's going to have the ability to keep Jarno Aarons away from him using the leg kicks. He's going to be quick. He's going to be snappy. He's going to, if it does go to the ground, sometimes when he gets into close quarters, clinch, getting on the inside, a lot of times Jarno Aarons, that's where he excels when it comes to his boxing. But I think Gomez, is going to be able to take him down too, and control on the top. And if it does go to a decision, which I think it's gonna, that's where he's going to earn some points there too with the judges. Is, he does have a little bit of a background in judo, so using some of those judo throws when Jarno Evans tries to get on the inside and do those boxing combinations, I think Omos is going to be able to do a hip toss or throw him over and get him on the ground, get some points there, get some ground and pound. If they have to stand back up, I think those leg kicks are going to matter a little bit more. Like I said, Jarno Evans, if he can get on the inside and land the boxing combination, stand on his feet, I think that's where he ultimately is going to win the fight here. So moving on up the card here, we have the very next fight is going to be Nasrat Haqparast taking on John Makdessi. John Makdessi is definitely aging at this point, 37 years old. He's had about a year and a half layoff from his split decision win over Ignacio Bahamundas. Before that, he took the loss to another older fighter in Francisco Trinaldo. This guy is a guy who fights basically once a year, so I don't know if ring rust is really going to be a thing, but what I'm concerned about is the combination of being outside of the ring and then the aging. And sometimes when you get in there and you're a little bit older, your body doesn't move the same. It's just not the same muscle memory as if you had been staying active. And that's why when you're a little bit older, a lot of people take a lot more time off to allow their body to heal. It doesn't heal in the same way, but also, you kind of want to stay in there. And as your body kind of changes or deteriorates, if you're taking a lot of damage, it's important to stay in the cage and stay active so that you kind of know how to work with your main tool here. And that concerns me a little bit for Makdessi. Looking obviously at Nasrat Haqparast, he's had a little bit of an up and down career here. I think in his last fight against Bobby Green, it would make sense that fight was taken on short notice. He took the loss. I think that was the fight where Nasrat Haqparast actually lost his mom like a week or so leading up to the fight. So probably safe to say not the best camp for him, but he is going to come in as the bigger guy. He is going to come in with the reach advantage. Both of these guys listed as fighting out of the TriStar gym, so they are going to know each other very well. So I'm not going to go out there and say that this one is going to go to I'm not going to say that this one is going to get finished. I think this is absolutely going to go to a decision, and I think you can lock that one in. I think Nasrat Haqparast at 27 years old, having a little bit of time off to recenter himself, I think he's going to come out and he's going to show good. I think he's going to get back into the win column here. He's going to have the grappling advantage. I think Nasrat's chin is going to hold up. I think, he's going to win a little bit more of those grappling or not grappling, the striking exchanges. So for all of those reasons, I just see a lot of things in the Nasrat Haqparast corner at only a minus 200 favorite. I really do like him a lot here. And I'm sure it probably won't go up too much because I'm sure Vegas is keyed into the fact that this is, two guys that know each other well, not a ton of finishing power. I think it's a very safe bet to take Nasrat Haqparast to win this one by decision. Moving on up, we are plowing through the card. We have Alessio de Chirico versus Roman Kopylov. And Kopylov, he's had a lot of fights fall through that I think would have been wins. He's been matched up against a variety of different opponents that ultimately they get pulled out for one reason or another. And then when he actually takes his fights against a much harder opponent. So his last loss from 9 months ago is against Albert Duraev, who we saw go on and have a pretty decent fight more recently. He took the loss to Carl Roberson over via rear naked choke. Listen, that's 2 years ago. You have a 29-year-old fighter in his first UFC bout. I think that's a little bit of a rough shake for Roman Kopylov. But just to speak a little bit to, he had fights fall out in 2020 against Eric Spicely, and in a couple months later, Tom Breese, a couple months later, Sam Alvey. So I'm looking at those fights and thinking, those are 1, 2, 3 potentially additional wins that he could have had. So, I think that Roman Kopylov is a little bit better than what his record would show. Looking at Alessio de Chirico here, he's powerful, but he doesn't always land against people with better technique. So when it comes to guys who have a really good stand-up ability and standing technique, he doesn't always get the opportunity to land his powerful punches. So it ends up just kind of falling by the wayside. Kopylov does have a lot of experience for his age, and I don't think ADC is going to out-grapple him. on the ground, and when it comes to striking, I do like Roman Kopylov's advantage there. He may not have the bigger power, but I think he's got the bigger ability, the better technique, and the more precise strikes. And I think most importantly, his defense is going to hold up to a point where ADC is not going to be able to land those power shots and put away Roman Kopylov. So I'm taking Kopylov. I to say I think this one is probably going to go to decision here. And then moving on to the co-main event of UFC Paris, Robert Whittaker taking on Marvin, the Italian Dream Vettori. Robert Whittaker is a guy who is, some people would say overrated, some people say underrated. I don't think he gets a lot of credit. I mean, he doesn't fight all that often. He is a very good guy. So those are two things that are going to play against you when, thinking about your popularity. If you're too nice, and you don't fight all that much, and you lost to the champion twice, you're not going to have a bunch of people who are kind of clamoring for you. These guys are going to measure up very, very similar. The problem with Marvin Vettori, and a lot of people have said that, is that his overall skill, his ability, his talent level may not be up there with the rest of the UFC roster. But what he lacks in potentially talent is he makes up for in just having a really hard head and being an animal and going in there and brawling. His fight with Paulo Costa was a bit of a brawl. I don't think that anybody would classify that as a display of amazing technique and style and fight IQ, but Whittaker is a guy. He's 23-6. He has shown that when he's in there with guys like Darren Till, guys like Jared Cannonier, even Kelvin Gastelum, he can absolutely use his fight IQ and all of his different abilities and weapons to get it done. He's got the loss to Israel Adesanya 5 months ago, but he looked good in that, and that was a closer fight. Now, is that Israel Adesanya taking a step back? Who knows? Hard to say, but all I can say is that Robert Whittaker is going to go out there and he's going to compete. And in this matchup here, I like his talent, IQ, and skill, and overall body of work more than Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori has only been fighting the top echelon of competition for a little bit. I mean, he's got that win over Kevin Holland at 85. And listen, that there's just no comparison. Kevin Holland now doing great things at 70, but at 85, Kevin Holland was just too skinny. He was getting thrown around, and especially what I didn't like from Marvin Vettori is the fact that he wrestled him. He didn't want to stand and strike with him, which I guess that is a good display of fight IQ to a degree. Take your advantage and ride it out. But he has the Jack Hermanson win, and Jack Hermanson isn't necessarily your top echelon of fighter. Carl Roberson, not necessarily your top echelon of fighter. So he's only getting up here. He's got the loss to Israel Adesanya, and he did look pretty good in it. It's not like he got put away, and he was winning some of the exchanges. He hurt Izzy a couple times. Well, I don't know, hurt or stumbled, but he definitely got his punches in there. And then the Paulo Costa was absolutely a slugfest there. Ultimately, I just think Robert Whittaker, he is far too adept at fighting the top level of competition. I think Marvin Vettori is actually going to be, he's not going to get put out. Let's put it that way. Marvin Vettori has a very, very hard head, and he's got that ability to just stay in there and maintain. But I think Robert Whittaker is going to put on display his ability to just be out technique Marvin Vettori. I was trying to come up with a word like technician. Yeah, technician. Technician. He's a technician. Whatever, you get it. Robert Whittaker is just a lot more technical when it comes to the feet. I don't think Robert Whittaker is going to get put away by Marvin Vettori. I don't think there's going to be a ground game here. Robert Whittaker is actually very adept at maintaining the fight on his feet. Robert, I think he's got very, very good head movement, so he's going to be able to showcase his boxing here. He has the advantage in grappling, like I said, Robert Whittaker does. And I think he's got the better technique, and he's going to outskill and outpoint Marvin Vettori on the way to a 3-round decision. Moving up to the UFC Paris main event, before we get into Cyril Gane versus Tai Tuivasa, just one more time, I want to advise you and encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think of our picks, of our videos, and how you're doing with us, betting against us, fading us, all of that. Let us know. So Cyril Gane, should I say, Tai Tuivasa. I mean, it's no question that Cyril Gane is going to have a far better technique. He's a really, really big guy, and he's going to have a pretty solid reach advantage here, too. He's very light in his feet. That's the one thing that everybody continually says about Cyril Gane is that, yeah, he's a heavyweight, and he comes in at like 240, 245, excuse me. But he moves around like he's a middleweight or a 170 guy. He's very light in his feet, bouncing around. He has a really good ability to take a shot too, and that's going to be Tai Tuivasa's main path to victory here. It's not like Tai Tuivasa is going to take him down and he's going to grapple him. I guess we can expect anything. Or anything can happen after Francis took down Cyril Gane, but I think Cyril is just very kind of similar to Robert Whittaker. I think is very, very deep in the technique of martial arts. And, even after that fight with Francis and Ngannou, Cyril had said that, like, fair play, Francis, you got me down. And I think he's went and he's worked on that. I don't think that's going to happen here, and I don't think Tai Tuivasa is the guy who's going to take him down and grind out a decision here. Tai Tuivasa is going to go in there and he's going to try and throw. He's going to have a slugfest. He wants to make a fun fight, and he's going to want to try and put Cyril Gane away. But if Francis Ngannou couldn't put Cyril Gane away with big shots, I don't think Tai Tuivasa is gonna. And I also think Cyril Gane is going to be able to have the kind of head movement and the ability between switching stances, moving around to stay out of that crazy power of Tai Tuivasa. This line is pretty crazy. Let me look it up right now. I think that it was something like minus 400 or something for Cyril Gane. Really, everybody counting out Tai Tuivasa as they typically do. Minus 550 for the Frenchman Bongamin Cyril Gane, plus 400 for Tai Tuivasa. And listen, Tai Tuivasa was counted out against Derek Lewis. Tai Tuivasa wasn't thought very highly of. Augustus Sakai, I think he actually probably was favored there. He's got the win over Greg Hardy, Harry Hunsucker. I mean, listen, Tai Tuivasa, Bam Bam, he's super fun, and he's going out there and he's letting people know who he is. But when you look at the caliber of competition, Stefan Struve, Harry Hunsucker, Greg Hardy, right? Not the best. And then you go Augustus Sakai, who's aging, also not the best. Augustus Sakai has not put on some noteworthy performances lately. And then he went out there and he beat Derek Lewis. And the one caveat to that is the fact that it was in Houston, and we're just learning that Derek Lewis cannot fight in Houston. That's not to say that I think Tai Tuivasa has no shot here. Like I said, he's got crazy power. He's a big Samoan guy, and they must have a crazy bone density either in their wrists or arms or something. But either way, I don't see Tai Tuivasa getting put out by Cyril Gane either. So I think this one is pretty safe bet to go to decision. It'll be interesting to see Tai Tuivasa in the 4th and 5th round. Haven't really seen him there yet, but I think Cyril Gane's going to have the far better technique. He is going to be able to, land some shots that are going to matter with the judges. Tai Tuivasa may take a round or two because he may have that output. But both of these guys have showed the ability to take shots from heavy-handed guys and keep fighting. I think it's going to be fun. Tai's going to try and turn this into a scrap, but I think Cyril Gane is going to, kind of input his game plan here, and he's going to be able to get that decision. So, I know it's not a sexy pick. The sexy pick was picking Tai Tuivasa by KO, which, hey, listen, if he's plus 400, taking Tai Tuivasa by KO, probably in the first 3 rounds, you may get plus 6, 7, 800, 800 might be the line. So maybe that's worth a sprinkle or two, because if Cyril Gane's not going to win a decision, I think Tai Tuivasa is going to win by knockout. I don't see Cyril Gane knocking out Tai Tuivasa, but then again, we haven't seen Tai Tuivasa in the 4th and 5th round, and maybe he'll go out there and he'll seek and try to get that knockout in the 2nd round of Cyril Gane. He'll get tired, he'll last through the 3rd, and in the 4th and the 5th is where Cyril Gane starts to dish out some powerful shots here. So we could see something like that, but I think Cyril Gane to take this one by decision is looks good for me. Tai Tuivasa in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd for a KO, I think also is probably worth a sprinkle or two. And then, maybe a little bit if you want to get specific, Cyril Gane by KO, by finish in the 4th or 5th. And that, I think, diversifies you pretty well across the board here. So with that being said, thank you so much for checking in and watching the video, and I hope you either bet with me or you tail me and let me know, because me and Keith were sitting here at about 70% of our picks. So we want to see, are people telling us, and are we making people money, or are we not making people money? Are we costing people their houses? What's the deal here? So let us know, how you use us, if you use us. All good information. So a quick pick rundown here. Let me put on the music. Without my partner in crime here, it seems that I am just totally out of whack. Here we go. Pick rundown. All right. Starting off at the bottom of the card, I like Stephanie Egger to win over Eileen Perez. I would trust that one to probably get finished and then by submission, Stephanie Egger. Moving up the card, I like Miguel Filak to get a finish over Faraz Siam. Looking at like the first or maybe the second for a TKO victory for Miguel Filak, or Michael Filak, should I say, the Polish guy. Dustin Stoltzfus taking on UFC newcomer Abus Magomedov. I think Magomedov, in a rare instance, is going to win in his debut. He just has a better ground game. And typically Dustin Stoltzfus, that's where he likes to go. And Magomed is going to beat him there. So I like Abus Magomed to get the submission. Dustin Stoltzfus has shown that he has the ability to be submitted, even though that's typically his bread and butter. Charles Jourdain versus Nathaniel Wood. I like Charles Jourdain to get this one done too, on the undercard. Actually, no. Is that on the undercard? Whatever. No. Main event. Who cares? Either way, Charles Jourdain. Moving up the card, William Gomez versus Jarno Aarons. I like Gomez. I think his kicking is going to beat the boxing. Once Aarons gets in and tries to use some boxing, I think Gomez will use the judo throws and show some control on the ground and get points that way. I think that one is going to go to decision. Nasrat Haqparast over John Makdessi. John Makdessi's getting old. He's 37, man. Nasrat Haqparast, I think he's 28 or 29. He's constantly improving. He's had some squabbles along the way. The Bobby Green, like I said, just lost his mother. So Nasrat Haqparast, I like this one at 27, 28, 29 years old, early in his career. Faced some killers already, gonna face him in the future. I like Nasrat Haqparast, especially with his ground ability, to get this one done. I think his chin is gonna hold up. Alessio de Chirico versus Roman Kopylov. I think Roman Kopylov is going to take this one by decision. Robert Whittaker, I think, is also going to win a decision over Marvin Vettori, leading us to our main event at 265 pounds. I think Cyril Gane is going to win a decision over Bam Bam Tuivasa. But hey, it's Bam Bam. Anything can happen. So with that being said, thank you again so much for tuning in, sticking through to the end here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you're thinking. Hit us up on the socials. My Twitter is right here. Also, we have all of the Pickin winners stuff down at the bottom. Make sure you go and check us out at pickinwinners.org. We got a ton of good content. Oh, and before I forget, Men of Order as well. Go check us out at menoforder.com. That's where we post all of the information as far as where to find us on Spotify, where to find us on YouTube, a little bit of background about fighters. Keith likes to add in some clips here and there. Just to give you a quick rundown and a place to go to get all of your UFC content. So thank you so much. Appreciate everybody sticking with us, and we will see you next week.